So what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is the road to being a signed musician. Now, I'm really, really stoked that Joe went first because a lot of the stuff he was saying was perfect, totally on point. And I'm going to be probably reiterating a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, maybe on a slightly different angle, but the foundations are nearly identical in terms of being a full-time musician and being a musician of a specific caliber or a specific level of success in terms of local, international. It's relevant or not, you're playing to 5 or 5,000. It's exactly the same amount of effort you have to put in, and it's exactly the same road that you have to go down as well. So obviously, first and foremost, you should start a band. It sounds like a given, but there's so many people out there that have these dreams of, oh, I'm going to open Big Day Out, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but they don't do anything. So first and foremost is that you have to create something, you have to have a goal. You have to lay out the foundations of doing that. Just don't sit on your butt and dream and have the, wish I could do this, wish I could do that. Everybody here has that ability to do that. It's just getting off your butt and doing it first. Start locally. There's no point aiming to play the Palladium in New York City if you can't draw more than 5 people in your hometown. So start locally, look at what people are doing locally and what bands are doing locally. So my route to get where I am now is just literally asking someone in a skate shop, what do I do to play a show at a local venue? Then, of course, networking. You know, being social, being able to talk to people, being to introduce yourself. Don't just stand in the corner with your arms crossed if you're at a gig, you know. Meet people, have a talk, meet other bands, especially if you are fortunate enough to have a gig, because these networks that you create are going to be the foundation for whatever you do. These are people that you're going to be relying on for maybe potential favors, or they may, you know, turn into promoters, or, you know, keep in contact with the people that you're having these experiences with, because it's going to pay off dividends once you've developed that network in the near future. And then, of course, maintaining a steady calendar. There's no point playing 4 shows a year and thinking you're going to be the next Rage Against the Machine. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You need to develop that audience, and that's going to be, you know, just being on the ground, doing the hard slogs. I had someone a few years ago ask me, hey, I've got a really great band, we write really good songs, what do we do? Well, you play 2-3 times a week. You play and shoot down to Wellington to do a gig and drive overnight to come back to go to work. You don't worry about petrol money. The first couple of years, you're just slogging it out to make that brand. And his face dropped because he realized just how much hard work it was going to be. It is hard work, but it's very, very rewarding. And it's impossible just to rest on your laurels in terms of the music that you're making. Everyone here has a capacity to make an amazing song, and I've got no concerns about that. I am sure you're all amazing musicians, but as Joe was speaking about earlier, it takes that extra and above to just go past what you have as natural talent to then actually be successful. And unfortunately, it's not, you can't just rely on making a great song. Everyone can make a great song. People make bad songs and do really well. It's just look at the top 10. Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people get like, well, why are they up there? And it's like, well, it's not anything to do with the music, unfortunately. This has really helped me create a kick-ass EPK. EPK stands for Electronic Press Kit. You can make physical press kits. I rely on electronic ones just because they're easier, and a lot of people now are more accepting of electronic press kits. It's basically a one-page sheet, who you are, what you've done, and why you're a viable investment. So that can be quite hard when you're starting off. That's why I'm saying you have to really invest in yourself, make those sacrifices, basically to get that line on your press kit, that accolade. We did this show, we did that show, or we did this tour, we did that tour. That tour may have not been financially viable. You may have lost a wee bit of money on that, but it's a line on your press kit, it's a line on your CV, and it's something that shows a potential investor, i.e. a promoter or a manager or a record label, that you're prepared to put the hard yards in to invest in yourself. No one's going to invest in you as a brand unless you do as well. And again, the age-old historical, we'll write a great song and get picked up by Sony, it doesn't happen. And this may rustle a few feathers, but DIY. You don't need a manager to start off with. Bob from Timaru, who's never played a gig in his life, doesn't need a manager. This sounds like a really silly thing, but I did a show in Tauranga a few years ago, and the opening band turned up, and they had no amp, no pedals, no leads, didn't even have a pick, but they had a photographer. So completely the wrong priorities. You don't need any of that stuff to begin with. And to be honest, investing in that skill set yourself in terms of learning how to book a show, book a venue, book a PA, understand how much it's going to cost, how much you need to charge, how many people need to be on the door. That gives you the foundations to really understand the business decisions you'll need to make later on to understand whether or not something is viable for you to do as an option. And it also actually provides you with that amount of respect required to understand that tipping point where maybe you do need a promoter, where you do need a booking agent, or you do need a manager. But for the first portion of any band's career, the first few years is all about just investing in yourself and making as much effort into building yourself up as a brand. And the more that you do it yourself, the more you're going to learn. And it's going to be really, really beneficial later on. And the BDAD principle. That means don't be a dick. Most of the people that you're dealing with, especially in the in our region, where we don't play covers, we play originals, most of the bands in our genre aren't getting paid, or they're not getting paid enough, and the people that you're dealing with aren't getting paid or aren't getting paid enough. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm not getting paid a large amount of money, I don't want to deal with someone that's a dick. So just be humble, be easy to work with, love the stage crew, love your crew. They are amazing. They make everything so much easier for you. Get in early, set up. Don't have any dramas or problems. Get off the stage, thank them, network, meet new people. It's amazing opportunities to create some great friendships and also some business networks as well. And like I said, it's too small of a scene to have that reputation of being difficult or egotistical, or feel that you're worth more than it's being offered. It's definitely a fine line between understanding where you are in your career and what you think that you should be doing, and being able to manage and negotiate with people and come across as being someone that's extremely humble and easy to work with. Because again, it's a really, really small music scene, and your reputation is your name. Your name is your name, and you don't want to tarnish it yourself by being egotistical or very, very difficult. And Joe touched on this really as well, but diversifying your income. Don't rely purely on just album royalties or sales. Now, this is going to be a bit of a down buzz kind of moment, but everything now is moving to the cloud in terms of Spotify, YouTube, Netflix, Microsoft Azure, Google Drive, Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Everything now is on the cloud. But unfortunately, at the moment, royalties for streaming are horrible. This was a breakdown of Cracker's low in 2012 for the last quarter. Now, he had over 1.1 million plays. And as a performer, he received $543. The record company got more than him. And if you're a songwriter who wrote a song for him, you got $43. Now, you probably don't recognize who this guy is, but he wrote all about that bass. Now, he had 178 million streams of his song on Pandora. And how much money do you think he got? Take a guess. 5. So this comes back to diversifying your income. Don't rely just on these and your laurels as the streaming of these cloud services. At the moment, the royalties for these are very, very difficult. There's a lot of work going into that at the moment with a lot of copyright organizations to try and get better deals in this regards. But it provides you with a great opportunity to diversify your income. Thinking about, as an artist, as a brand, what can we do to generate more income? So thinking about different albums, thinking about the albums that you create, different types of ways to create the music in terms of vinyl. Vinyl's a great way to make some good profit because a lot of people collect vinyl. For us, especially in our industry, it's merchandise. We see way more profit margins with our merchandise. So t-shirts, hoodies, singlets, iPhone cases of all things. What else we've done? I've been in bands that have done jandals. We did watches. We did bags, duffel bags. There's so many things that you can do. And basketball shorts. Apparently, basketball shorts are really popular with the Australian hardcore and punk scene. It's pretty crazy because you can do pretty crazy profit margins on them as well. Most albums you may see like a $1 or $2 profit margin, but on your merch you can sell a t-shirt for $20, $25 and it only takes maybe $5 to $6 to print. So if you want to support an artist, buy their t-shirt because they're going to see much more money. And if they've done it right, they don't have to share that profit margin with anyone else in terms of managers or booking agents or promoters. They do it themselves. So that's definitely what we've done. And a large focus for us, I mean, this probably sounds horrible, but when we're on stage, we go, hey, download our album because we just want you to listen to the music, or do it on Spotify, whatever. But we have T-shirts at the back. So if you want to help us out and give us some petrol money, buy a T-shirt. So again, diversifying your income. If you can string along 3 chords, you can probably teach someone those 3 chords. A lot of musicians, especially in the touring circuit in America, will do lessons on Skype. With their fan base, and using their fan base and social media channels to communicate with that. You can do music lessons, $40, $50 for an hour or half an hour, what have you. A lot of musicians will actually organize to have one-to-one lessons with their students at venues, so they turn up 1 or 2 hours early. For a guitarist, that's great income. It's outside of the band because you're making these arrangements, and you may have Skype sessions that are booked in weekly. It's a different income stream, and a lot of musicians that I know have multiple income streams. I know musicians who are also managers as well, also promoters, or even graphic designers. So they're designing posters or promotional items, or like what I've done, and be invested in social media or consultancy work on the side.